Payload entered in. Later spread. Again, compatible. Not proven. #4. Ghost archaic ancestry. Modern genomics finds evidence of unsampled ghost archaic populations contributing to human ancestry, especially in Africa. This supports a braided model of human origins, not a clean single tree. I tried to build the strongest version of the aliens engineered modern humans thesis and then stress test it without mercy. The result is not a proof and not a debunk. It is a calibration. The bad version of the thesis is easy to bleep. Aliens inserted alien genes into apes. There is no accepted evidence for that. No foreign sequence. No broken phylogeny. No extraterrestrial gene pool. The human genome looks like descent with modification, but the strongest version is more subtle. If intervention occurred, it would most plausibly look like regulatory seeding, the coordinated reprogramming of the developmental regulatory layer introduced through a narrow reproductive lineage and then propagated by ordinary population dynamics. In other words, not alien genes, but altered control logic. # The core proposition: the modern human transition may have involved a coordinated shift in the developmental programs controlling face, vocal tract, brain, cognition, fertility, and lineage propagation. If an advanced engineer wanted to reshape a hominin population, it would probably not replace the genome wholesale. It would retune when and where existing genes activate. Enhancers, methylation, splicing, developmental timing, and regulatory networks. That is also where some of the real modern human signal appears. # The evidence-compatible pillars. #1. The targeted control panel. Modern humans differ from archaic humans in regulatory and epigenetic patterns affecting face, vocal tract, and brain. Ancient methylation studies have found modern human-specific changes around genes involved in craniofacial and vocal anatomy, including networks such as SOX9, ACAN, COL2A1, NFX, and SAL1. More recent work on NOVA1 suggests that a human-specific substitution affects RNA splicing and vocalization-related circuits. This does not prove engineering, but it does make the best hypothetical target very clear. Developmental regulation, not foreign DNA. #2. The uniparental sweep template. Ancient DNA shows that small population movements can leave huge uniparental effects. One striking example is the replacement of Neanderthal mitochondrial DNA by a lineage closer to modern humans, while the Neanderthal nuclear genome remained overwhelmingly archaic. That is the kind of population genetic geometry the thesis needs. A narrow lineage can leave a disproportionate maternal or paternal signature without replacing the whole genome. #3. Mitochondrial Eve. As a coalescence node, mitochondrial Eve is not the first woman. She is the most recent woman from whom all living humans descend through an unbroken maternal line. Under normal genetics, this is explained by drift, lineage extinction, bottlenecks, and population structure. Under the speculative thesis, the same pattern could be read as a successful maternal vehicle through which a regulatory payload entered and later spread. Again, compatible. Not proven. #4. Ghost archaic ancestry. Modern genomics finds evidence of unsampled ghost archaic populations contributing to human ancestry, especially in Africa. This supports a braided model of human origins, not a clean single tree, but a mixture among known and unknown archaic populations. The lore often imagines a vanished donor population. The science does show vanished contributors, but they are inferred as archaic hominins, not aliens. #5. Hybrid incompatibility and fertility bearers. Modern humans and archaic humans were related enough to interbreed, but not freely compatible. Archaic ancestry is depleted on the X chromosome and near male fertility genes, suggesting reduced hybrid fertility at the edge of speciation. This rhymes with lore about early hybrids being sterile and requiring a fertility fix. But again, the natural explanation is already strong. Hybrid incompatibility during hominin divergence. #6. Spatiotemporal alignment. The broad timing is interesting. Early bleep sapiens fossils appear in Africa around 300,000 years ago. Regulatory changes, archaic admixture, mitochondrial coalescence, and later population expansions all cluster in the deep middle/late Pleistocene. That overlaps with some ancient astronaut lore placing a human upgrade hundreds of thousands of years ago. But this is also the most event-dense period in human evolution. A mythic date placed around 300k years ago is almost guaranteed to coincide with something important. #7. The epistemological inversion. The thesis's strongest defense is also its weakness. A competent engineer would leave a natural-looking genome. That sounds clever, but if the expected evidence is indistinguishable from natural evolution, then the genome cannot support the intervention claim. The thesis becomes safe from refutation by becoming empty of distinctive prediction. #The stress tests, the strongest objection comes from agriculture. We know what deliberate genetic introgression from a related species looks like. For example, bred wheat carries the 2ns/2 as translocation, a chromosomal block from the wild relative Aegilops ventricosa, used in tropical wheat breeding because it helps resist wheat blast. To a layperson, the result is just a better wheat cultivar. But genomically, the engineering is not hidden. The introgressed block is detectable because it breaks the expected tree pattern, a long, diverged segment sitting in an identifiable chromosomal region that creates a problem for the alien engineering thesis. If the human upgrade came through introgression from a donor lineage, where's the displaced block? If there is no displaced block, the thesis must retreat to subtle regulatory retuning. But then the ghost donor evidence is no longer doing the work. My conclusion, the strongest possible version of the thesis is this. If ancient intervention occurred, it most plausibly operated through subtle developmental regulation inside an already evolving African hominin population, not through obvious alien DNA. It may have affected face, voice, brain, cognition, fertility, and lineage dynamics, then spread through ordinary mechanisms such as admixture, selection, drift, bottlenecks, and maternal line survival. But here's the honest verdict. Current evidence strongly supports regulatory and epigenetic divergence in modern humans, archaic admixture, ghost hominin ancestry, uniparental lineage replacement, hybrid incompatibility, a complex African origin of bleep sapiens. Current evidence does not support alien engineering, intentional design, and extraterrestrial gene pool, a literal engineered Eve. So the thesis survives only as a prior-dependent interpretation. If you already have strong independent reasons to believe ancient intervention occurred, the genomic evidence can be made compatible with that belief. But if you start from the genome alone, the naturalistic account explains everything with no remainder. The best one-line summary: the regulatory seeding thesis is biologically well-formed and lore-compatible, but not genomically evidenced. Its probability rests almost entirely on one's prior for ancient intervention, not on the human genome itself.